waited, and we got right in behind somebody, and we followed them. On the highway, when you get on the real busy interstate or whatever, you got to follow real close. And you got to be able to push and draw back. And you get right in, but that's the way our roads work. You got to get right behind somebody. When we got in line to eat lunch, dinner, you went right in behind somebody and followed them up. For our world to work, you have to learn to get right behind somebody. But for these cattle's world, they don't like that. They're saying don't do that. Yet we don't change ourselves from the human world to the cattle world. So when we're working in an alley, and we'll just call this an alley, and this is a bunch of the things we do. So this is the alley, and in my human world, I get right in the middle of the alley and I walk right up behind the cattle. But if you think about it, that's the worst place to be, really, because those cattle, they're looking for me. They're hunting me, and I'm slowing them down, or they just run off and hit the fence. Now, so the thing to do is, so they can see you, and we've all seen border collie dogs, or gathering type dogs, and they go back and forth behind the animal. They go back and forth, and what they're doing is switching eyes. The reason the border collie, he goes back and forth so much, he's switching from the left eye to the right eye. Left eye, right eye, back and forth. If you see two dogs working, they do this. They work in a basket. And they're confusing that animal, and he doesn't know what's behind him, where it's at, so he just moves forward. And that's why they move off. So we got to kind of do the same thing. So if I'm taking these cattle up this alley, I would maybe work here, and I just try to walk right through the cow's hip. If I got 5 in front of me or 500, I keep walking through their hip. And what these animals do, they know I'm advancing, and they just keep pushing in front of them. If I get right in the middle back here, they start looking for me. They're hunting me. And that slows them down. So back and forth. If you got 2 people in an alley, it seems like when I watch kids working or people working in an auction market, they almost like they're walking through the alley holding hands. That's kind of funny. What they need to do is spread out, get on the outside. One here, one there. Now when that old lead cow, she turns to hunt me, I'm right here, I step into her, she turns her head back in, and she goes down the center of the alley. So this is one of the biggest things that I think we need to do, is just learn how to work cattle in an alley. Get them traveling. And cattle really, I've really been studying this a lot. Cattle work kind of like these batteries in this microphone here. If the batteries are lined up, if you got head to tail, positive to negative, the batteries work. There's a flow. When we put cattle in a pen, or we're going to work them in a chute, in a tub or something like that, when cattle are turned different directions, head to tail, opposite, they don't go. When you get them all pointed the same direction, it doesn't take any pressure at all to get them to go. And I've watched that a lot lately. And so this is the whole thing, is how do we work these cattle in a way, we got to put pressure on them. When I come in this pen over here and I get these cattle to try to leave, you guys up here are going to be putting pressure back on these cattle. Somehow I got to figure out how to put more pressure on them in that pen than there is out here. So I'll see if I can do that. The other thing is, cattle want to see you. They want to keep their eye on you. So we can use that to our advantage. So I am, say I'm taking cattle down this alley. Is everything shut on that end there? Okay. That wouldn't be very good at cattle handling demonstration, put a bunch of cattle right out the chute or something. So if I'm going to put cattle out of this gate, and I'm trying to use their eye, think about what the best way is to enter that pen. Now if I can get a contact and keep the contact, so here, what I need to do is, I want these cattle to be able to see me all the way around. So I'm going to go this way. And right here I should be able to step in, step back, and now if I step up, I could have maybe drawn them around me. Now this is real good here because the cattle learn that they can go by me. Now right here I want them to turn to their right, so what I'll do is I'll come over here. When you're following cattle up an alley and you want them to turn to the right like this, stay on the right side. That way I can draw that eye across, and now I should be able to push on this. I can push on these calves from right back here, from clear back here, and get them to go through that gate. I'll cross over here just like the border collie. That should cause them to go up in that corner. Now when you want to change cattle's minds, like this calf here, if I don't step back and give her some ground, now I can step forward and turn her back. You got to change her mind before she's thinking about going back to that pen. And if I don't step back here and change her mind and then step forward, this is where when you step forward, you got to step forward quick before she changes her mind again. That's the same thing with my wife. So here again, step in, cross that eye, work their eye. Don't work the whole cow, work their eye. Right here, I better step back, change your mind. You can change your mind doing this right here, back and forth on your feet, back and forth, change it, step in. You can't hesitate right there because the cow will run over you. Change her mind, now they're ready to flow. And I can work their side real good. Step back, now step in. Okay, so we want to be careful of our corners. So here I'll try to just open things up. And right here I wouldn't want to go out that way. I'd come this way here. So these cattle, when they draw around me, they can see me fine, and I'll switch right across. Coming up this alley, I should switch over here, try to draw that eye out there. When you got people working gates, when you're at your yard back. Of course, gates are probably the #1 injury. Come from gates, am I right? At the auction market, gates slinging, cattle slipping into gates. Take a good solid hold of your gate. The thing that I see happen a lot is your people that are working gates, they stand here right in the way, and your yard back people are coming down the alley and they turn those cattle back on them. What would be just real simple is when those cattle see me here, be watching them. As soon as they see me, I just start backing up and drawing this way. That just invites those cattle to come to you, and it draws them into the gate. Rather than just standing there like, and especially what I really hate is when somebody's standing there talking on the cell phone. I hate it. So your people that are at the gates, just step back and try to draw that eye, just like hooking a horse on. Same thing. Okay. The next big issue we have is sorting cattle. The other thing is that I think your employees, and I talked about this earlier before, always count cattle out of a gate. And if you can get people counting without their hands, that'll be real helpful. I have a hard time, I count with my hands. And you can really stop a lot of movement with just that hand. So if you can learn to work with your hands in your pockets and try not to cover much ground here. I should be able to pull these calves out of this pen just by moving this much. I don't know if you can see me from the feeder, but I didn't move more than 3 feet there. And these cattle are real good to go by you. The trouble with these cattle are going to be is you can't stop them. How many there? 6 or 7? I don't know. I didn't count them.